What if the reason your heart feels this heavy is not because you're losing them, but because you're holding on to someone Allah is already taking away? You keep thinking about them. Even when you try not to, you replay the good moments like they still mean something. You tell yourself, maybe it just needs time. Maybe it will fix itself. But at the same time, your chest doesn't feel calm anymore. Your thoughts don't feel quiet anymore. And the peace you once felt with them is slowly disappearing. You don't understand it fully, but you feel it clearly. Something is not right. And that feeling is not weakness. It's not overthinking. It's a sign. Because when Allah doesn't want someone for you, He doesn't always remove them all at once. Sometimes He takes the peace away first. So your heart begins to feel the truth before your life fully shows it. And the hardest part is, you're still trying to hold on while Allah is gently pulling you away, not to hurt you, but to protect you from a story that was never meant to have your name in it. The connection slowly stops giving peace and starts quietly taking it away. At the beginning, everything feels calm. You feel happy hearing their name. You feel comfort in their presence. Your heart feels light, almost safe. Even small moments feel special. A simple message makes your day better. A short conversation feels enough to keep your heart at ease. There is no confusion, no heaviness, no constant thinking. It just feels right. But then, without warning, something begins to change. Not suddenly, not loudly, but slowly, quietly, in a way that is hard to explain. You start feeling a little uneasy, not enough to walk away, but enough to notice. You begin to think more and smile less. You check your phone more often, but feel less satisfied. You wait longer and feel more anxious. Your mood starts depending on them. Your peace starts becoming fragile. Some days feel okay, but most days feel uncertain. You don't fully understand what's wrong, but deep inside, something doesn't feel settled anymore. Even when nothing is clearly broken, your heart no longer feels at rest. And this feeling is important because your heart recognizes misalignment before your mind accepts it. You try to ignore it. You tell yourself, maybe it's just stress. Maybe they're busy. Maybe you're overthinking. So you stay. You adjust. You give it more time. But the feeling doesn't leave. It grows. Slowly. That calmness you once felt turns into overthinking. That comfort turns into emotional tension. That lightness turns into heaviness you carry every day. And this is not something small, because what is truly written for you does not steal your peace. It protects it. It strengthens it. It makes your heart feel stable, not shaky. A connection that is right for you does not leave you confused at night or anxious during the day. It does not make you question where you stand. But when Allah doesn't want someone for you, He doesn't always remove them instantly, because your heart may not be ready to let go. So, instead, He removes the peace first. He allows you to feel the difference, so you can slowly see this is no longer a place where your heart belongs. And this is a quiet kind of mercy, because if the peace remained, you might have stayed longer and lost yourself deeper. So Allah changes the feeling before He changes the situation. He lets your heart feel the truth before your life fully reflects it. And slowly, without forcing you, He begins guiding you away, not by breaking everything at once, but by taking away the one thing that made you stay. The peace, no matter how much you try, nothing truly falls into place. When things start to feel unstable, your first instinct is not to leave. It is to fix. You tell yourself, maybe it just needs more effort. Maybe if I'm more patient, more understanding, more gentle, it will finally work. No. So you try. You give more of your time. You give more of your attention. You ignore your own discomfort. Just to keep things steady, you become the one who reaches out first, the one who explains more, the one who forgives quickly. Even when your heart is still hurting, you lower your expectations. Quietly, things you once said you would never accept, you slowly begin to tolerate, not because you are weak, but because you care, because you see something in them, or maybe you see something you want to be there. And for a moment, it feels like your effort is working. There are small good moments, small signs of hope, small reasons to stay, but they never last. The same problems return. The same confusion repeats. The same emotional weight comes back, again and again. And this is where your heart starts getting tired, because you are not just trying anymore. You are carrying the entire connection alone. You start to feel like you are the only one holding it together. Like if you stop trying, everything will fall apart. And deep inside, you already know it shouldn't feel like this. A connection that is right does not require you to lose yourself to keep it alive. It does not depend only on your effort. It flows. It meets you halfway. It brings ease, even during difficult moments. But this feels like pushing something that doesn't want to move. No matter how much energy you give, nothing truly settles. No matter how much patience you show, nothing truly becomes stable. And this is not because you didn't try enough. It is because you are trying to build something that was never meant to stand. When Allah has not written something for you, you can give it your best, your time, your heart, but it will never fully come together. There will always be a gap, always a delay, always something missing. Not because you are lacking, but because the connection itself is not aligned. And this is a hard truth to accept, because your effort feels real, your emotions feel real, your intentions are pure. But sometimes, sincerity alone cannot change what is not written. And slowly, your heart begins to understand something deeper. You are not failing to make it work. You are being shown that it was never meant to work in the first place. And that realization is the beginning of letting go. The signs become clear, but your heart still struggles to let go. At some point, the confusion starts to fade, not because things get better, but because the truth becomes harder to ignore. You begin to notice patterns, the way they disappear, then return like nothing happened, the way their words don't match their actions, the way you feel uncertain, even after reassurance. It's no longer one small issue. It's a pattern your heart keeps experiencing. And deep down, you understand it. You see the distance. You feel the inconsistency. You recognize the emotional imbalance. Your mind becomes clear, but your heart is not ready to release, because your heart is not only holding the reality, it is holding the memories. It remembers how it started. It remembers how they made you feel in the beginning. It remembers the moments that felt genuine, warm, hopeful, and that makes it harder, because you are not just trying to let go of a person. You are trying to let go of a feeling, a vision, a future you quietly imagined. So you stay in between, not fully at peace, but not fully gone either. You tell yourself, maybe they will change. Maybe things will go back to how they were. Maybe this is just a phase. You hold on to maybe, even when reality is showing you something else. And this creates a silent struggle inside you. Your mind is saying, this is not right. But your heart is whispering, just a little longer. And this is where the pain deepens, because you are no longer confused about the signs. You are just resisting what they mean. But understand this gently. When Allah does not want someone for you, he does not hide the truth from you. He shows it to you clearly, repeatedly, not all at once, but in moments you cannot ignore. A behavior that doesn't sit right, a feeling that doesn't leave, a pattern that keeps repeating. These are not random. These are signs, not meant to hurt you, but meant to wake your heart up. Because if everything stayed perfect, you would never question it. You would stay longer, even if it slowly broke you inside. So Allah allows you to see the cracks. He allows the reality to become visible. So your attachment begins to weaken, slowly. But letting go is not immediate. It takes time, because your heart has to grieve, not just the person, but the version of them you believed in. And that grief is real. It's quiet, it's heavy, and sometimes it feels like you are losing something meaningful. But in truth, you are not losing what was real. You are releasing what was not meant to stay. And this moment, when your heart struggles the most, is also the moment your healing begins. Because once you see clearly, you can no longer stay blindly, even if it takes time, even if it takes tears. Your heart is slowly learning to choose truth over attachment. And that is a very powerful step toward peace. Instead of elevating you, the connection begins to drain your soul. At the start, you felt uplifted. Your energy was light. Your heart felt open. Even your days felt easier, just knowing they were part of your life. A healthy connection does that. It adds to you. It strengthens you. It gently makes you better. But slowly, something begins to change. The same connection that once gave you energy now begins to take it away. You feel tired, even without doing much. You feel emotionally heavy, even after small conversations. Your mind feels crowded. Your heart feels restless, and you don't always understand why. You just know you're not the same anymore. You start waking up with a weight in your chest. You go to sleep with thoughts that don't let you rest. You replay things in your mind, trying to find clarity that never comes. Your peace becomes dependent on their mood, their response, their attention. And that is where the imbalance begins. Because your emotional state is no longer your own. It is tied to someone who is not giving you stability. You begin to give more, just to feel okay. You give your time, even when you are tired. You give your attention, even when you need space. You give your understanding, even when your heart is asking for fairness. Slowly, you start losing small parts of yourself. Your standards lower. Your voice becomes quieter. Your needs become smaller, not because you don't matter, but because you are trying to keep something from breaking. And this is where it becomes dangerous, because love should never require you to disappear. A connection that is right for you does not make you feel drained at the end of the day. It does not make you question your worth. It does not take away your connection with Allah or your connection with yourself. Instead, it strengthens both. But when Allah doesn't want someone for you, the connection begins to feel like a burden. Not all at once, but slowly. You laugh less. You feel less excited. You carry more emotional weight than peace. Even the good moments, I feel like a short break, not a true relief. And your soul begins to feel it, because your soul was not created to live in confusion or constant emotional struggle. It was created for peace, for clarity, for stability. And when it is placed in something that goes against that, it begins to withdraw. That's why you feel distant. That's why you feel tired. That's why even when you are with them, something feels missing. It's not because you stopped caring. It's because your soul is trying to protect you from something that is not meant to nourish you. And this is one of the clearest signs. When a connection drains you more than it fills you, it is no longer a place your heart should stay. Even if your emotions are still attached, your inner peace is already pulling away. And that quiet exhaustion you feel, it is not weakness. It is your soul asking for release. No matter how you hold on, everything keeps falling apart. There comes a point where you are no longer just hoping. You are holding on tightly. You try to keep everything together. You choose your words carefully. You avoid conflict. Even when something hurts you, you tell yourself, just stay patient. Just don't ruin it. Just hold on a little longer. Because a part of you still believes it can work. But no matter how careful you are, something keeps breaking. Conversations turn into misunderstandings, even when you mean well. Plans fall through, even when you try to make them happen. Moments that should feel simple become complicated. It feels like you are trying to build something on ground that never stays stable. You fix one thing, and another problem appears. You try to create closeness, but distance keeps returning. And slowly, it starts to feel like you are fighting against something you cannot control. You begin to ask yourself, why does it always feel this hard? Why does it never fully come together? Why does peace never stay? And deep down, you feel the answer, even if you don't want to accept it. Because when something is written for you, it may face tests, but it does not keep collapsing. There is a difference between difficulty and constant instability. Difficulty strengthens a connection, but instability slowly breaks it. And what you are experiencing is not just a test. It is a pattern where no matter how much you try, things keep slipping out of your hands. You hold on tighter, but it still falls apart. And this is where many hearts get hurt the most, because they think, if I just try harder, it will finally stay. But the truth is, sometimes the reason it keeps falling apart is because it was never meant to stay together. When Allah removes something, He doesn't always do it in one moment. Sometimes He lets it break slowly, not to punish you, but to prepare you, to show you this is not your place, to help your heart understand what your emotions are still holding on to. Because if it stayed perfect, you would never let go. You would remain attached, even if it slowly took your peace away. So Allah allows the cracks to appear. He allows the distance to grow. He allows the instability to continue, not because He wants to hurt you, but because He is protecting you from something you cannot fully see yet. And every time it falls apart, it is not a failure. It is a sign that you are trying to hold on to something Allah is gently removing. And one day, you will look back at all those moments that didn't work, all the plans that never aligned, all the efforts that never lasted, and you will realize it wasn't falling apart to break you. It was falling apart to set you free. The illusion breaks, and you finally see them for who they truly are. There comes a moment, not loud, not dramatic, but deeply quiet, where something inside you shifts. It doesn't feel like a big decision. It feels like a realization, a calm, almost heavy clarity. You stop defending them in your mind. You stop making excuses for their behavior. You stop explaining away what your heart has been feeling for so long. And for the first time, you begin to see clearly, not who you hoped they were, but who they truly are. You notice the things you once ignored, the inconsistency that you called busy, the distance that you called space, the lack of effort that you called they just need time. All those soft explanations begin to fade, and truth quietly takes their place. You realize you were not seeing them fully. You were seeing them through hope, through attachment, through the version of them you created in your heart. You held on to their potential, not their reality. And that is what made it so hard to let go. Because you were not just attached to a person, you were attached to an idea of what they could become, an idea of how things could feel if everything finally aligned. But now, that image begins to break, and it hurts. Not because the truth is harsh, but because it replaces something you deeply believed in. You start to see the gaps between their words and their actions, between what they promised and what they gave, between how they made you feel in the beginning and how you feel now. And once you see this clearly, your heart cannot go back to not knowing, even if you try, even if you want to. Clarity changes everything. It removes the emotional fog and replaces it with something more honest, more grounded, more real. And in that moment, you begin to understand something very important. It was never as perfect as you thought. It only felt that way because your heart filled in the missing pieces. This realization can feel painful because it feels like something beautiful is slipping away. But in truth, what is leaving was never fully real to begin with. And what is coming is something stronger. Truth. And truth, even when it hurts, sets your heart free. Because now, you are no longer holding on blindly. You are no longer chasing something that keeps hurting you. You are no longer confusing potential with reality. You are finally seeing. And this is where detachment begins. Not because you stopped caring, but because you started understanding. And once understanding enters the heart, attachment slowly loses its power. Because you cannot deeply hold on to something you clearly see is not meant for you. And this moment, this quiet awakening, is not the end of your story. It is the end of an illusion and the beginning of something real. Letting go no longer feels like loss. It starts feeling like peace. At the beginning, the thought of losing them felt unbearable. It felt like your heart would not survive it, like something important would disappear from your life forever. You were afraid of the silence, afraid of the emptiness, afraid of the what if that would stay in your mind. So you held on, even when it hurt, even when it drained you, even when deep down you knew something was not right. Because letting go felt like losing. But slowly, after everything you've felt, everything you've seen, something begins to change inside you. Not suddenly, but gently. You start feeling tired in a different way. Not just tired of the situation, but tired of carrying something that no longer brings you peace. You notice how heavy it feels to keep holding on, how much energy it takes to keep hoping, how much of your heart it consumes just to stay connected. And for the first time, you begin to crave something else. Peace. Simple, quiet, stable peace. The kind that doesn't depend on someone else's mood. The kind that doesn't disappear when a message is delayed. The kind that doesn't leave you questioning your worth. And slowly, your heart begins to choose that peace over the connection. You stop chasing. You stop over-explaining. You stop forcing conversations that no longer flow. Not out of anger, not out of pride, but out of understanding. You finally see that holding on is costing you more than letting go ever will. And this is the turning point. Because letting go no longer feels like something is being taken from you. It feels like something is being lifted off you. Like a weight you didn't even realize you were carrying is finally being set down. You breathe a little easier. Your thoughts become quieter. Your heart feels lighter. There is still sadness. There are still moments of remembering. Moments where your heart feels the absence. But beneath all of that, there is something new. A calm you didn't have before. A clarity you were missing. A quiet sense of relief that you don't have to keep trying anymore. And this is where the real shift happens. You begin to understand that losing them was not losing your chance at happiness. It was removing what was blocking it. Because what is truly written for you will not require you to beg for consistency, will not require you to shrink your heart, will not leave you feeling uncertain every day. It will come with ease, with clarity, with a feeling that your heart recognizes immediately. This is right. And in this moment, you realize something deeply comforting. If Allah removed them, it was never to leave you empty. It was to return you to yourself, to protect your heart from a connection that was slowly breaking it, to guide you away from something that could never give you lasting peace, and to prepare you for something better, something cleaner, something written with barakah. So now, when you let go, you don't feel like you lost everything. You feel like you finally found something again, yourself. And with that comes a peace that no unstable connection could ever give. One day, this will all make sense. Not in the middle of the pain, not when your heart is still holding on, but later, when you are finally at peace, you will look back and see what you couldn't see before. You will understand why the peace was taken away, why your heart felt restless, why no matter how much you tried, nothing stayed. you will realize it was never meant to stay. And suddenly, the pain will feel different. Not like something that broke you, but like something that protected you. Because Allah saw what you couldn't see. He knew what this connection would become, how it would affect your heart, how it would slowly take you away from your peace. So He removed it, not to hurt you, but to save you. Before it hurt you deeper. And one day, Allah will replace it, not with confusion, not with anxiety, not with something you have to force, but with something calm, something clear, something that feels right. Without struggle, a connection that doesn't make you question your worth, a connection that doesn't leave you overthinking at night, a connection that brings you closer to peace, not further from it. And when that moment comes, you will not feel the same. You will be stronger, wiser, more aware of what your heart truly deserves. And you will thank Allah, not just for what He gives you, but for what He took away. Because sometimes the greatest mercy is not in what stays in your life. It is in what Allah removes to make space for something better. So trust this moment, even if it hurts, even if it feels unclear, because what is written for you is still on its way. And when it arrives, it will not confuse your heart. It will calm it. If this message reached your heart, write Ameen in the comments and share it with someone who is still holding on to what Allah is gently taking away for their peace. And if you want more reminders that bring calm, clarity, and truth to your heart, subscribe to Deenpedia